target for today is I can write and represent solutions of inequalities by graphing them. So we're going to look at how to graph an inequality or graph a solution for an inequality. So we talked about yesterday that an inequality has more than one solution, and an inequality is going to have an infinite number of solutions because numbers go on infinitely. So if I start with the inequality, x is greater than 5. X could be 7, X could be 131, X could be 22. So any value that makes this inequality true, where this value for X is greater than 5, is a solution. So inequalities can have more than one solution. So I want to graph the fact that they have that. So when we graph an inequality, we're going to first start by building a number line and labeling number line. So this number line, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to build it out to 10. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to divide it. So there's my 0, 10, 5, and then I'm just going to fill in my points. Okay, so I've built my number line, marked it, so it's 0 through 5. Now, yesterday I told you guys that you always wanted to write the variable on the left side of the inequality. Here's why. When the variable is on the left side of the inequality symbol is going to point to the direction of the arrow that you're going to draw. So to graph the solution, I first am going to, at the 5, I'm going to draw an open circle. Now, the reason that I draw an open circle is an open circle means less than or greater than. Because 5 cannot be a value. I cannot put 5 in for x and have 5 greater than 5. So it is an open circle, which tells me that 5 is not a solution. Okay? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw an arrow that's going to show where my solutions are. So my arrow, again, because my inequality is greater than, my arrow is going to go to the right. So this right here, this graph, shows all of the solutions for x greater than 5. So this is how I graph an inequality. So I draw my number line, I decide whether it's going to be an open or closed circle, and then the direction that my inequality symbol is pointing, that's the direction that my arrow is pointing. Okay, so let's take a look at another one. So if I have m is less than or equal to 3. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw my number line. So at the very minimum, you need to have your values marked. So I'm going to go ahead and, because my values are not 5 this time, I'm going to go ahead and mark it and try to get them as even as you can when you draw your number line. So my spacings are pretty consistent. So I told you guys that an open circle represents greater than or less than. Well, a closed circle, so a closed circle is a shaded in circle. A closed circle represents greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. And the reason why it represents it is because the shaded circle that tells me that it can be a value. So because I have greater than or equal to, right, this line tells me that it's equal to, I'm going to draw and shade in my circle. Okay, so I'll really clearly show that 3 can be a value, because if I write 3 as a value, is 3 less than or equal to 3? Yes, it is. So 3 is a solution. Then I'm going to draw my solutions, or draw my arrow the direction that my inequality symbol is going. Okay, so it's going to go to there. And if you're doing this, notice I'm really highlighting, because it's the same color, I'm really highlighting the shading of my arrow. Okay, let me give you guys another example. So let me show you what you would do is if your inequality symbol was on the, or if your variable was on the right side instead of the left side. So if I have 7 is greater than x. So occasionally you'll come across this to where the variable is not on the left side. When I go to graph it, the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip the 7 and the x. So now I'm going to do x and 7. So again, I'm going to put that inequality symbol, or I'm going to put that variable on the left side. Now, with my inequality symbol, I need to just go ahead and I just need to flip it. So 7 greater than x is equal to x greater than 7. So I can reverse my inequality as long as I flip my symbol around too, and then that will make it easier to graph. So the solution that I'm going to graph is going to be true for 7 is greater than x and x is less than 7. So again, draw my number line. So I have 5, 0, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Label 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I have my value is going to be on 7. So I'm going to draw my circle. Now, I need to decide if it's going to stay as an open circle or if it's going to go to a closed circle. So again, open circle means it's greater than or less than, and a closed circle means greater than equal to, less than equal to. I'll just even make that a circle. Okay, so it's an open circle because I don't have an equal sign. And I'm going to go ahead on this one. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to label my variable up above. So I have x as possible solutions, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw. And I'm actually going to take off the variable. I don't want to worry about that. So you guys don't need to worry about that either. Okay, so again, my inequality is pointing to the left, so my arrow is going to point to the left as well. So it needs to go the full length of my number line. So if my number line goes out to here, my arrow goes out to here. So I'm not going to draw a short inequality. I'm going to, again, make it really noticeable that that's my inequality. Okay? All right, let's do another one. So if I have, let's see, x is greater than or equal to 7, draw my line. I guess it needs to be arrows. So there's my 0, there's my 10. I'll draw some arrows out after it. There's my 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. So first thing I do is I find my value at 7. So it's a closed circle because it's equal to. So it's greater than or equal to. And then my arrow is pointing to the right. So my shading is going to point to the right. Okay. All right, take a look at one that maybe is not in 0 through 10. So if I have s is less than or equal to 13, I can change my number line to make it any value that I want. So here I'm going to make this 15. I'm going to make this 5. In the middle is going to be 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so my number line's built. So now I'm going to take a look at this one. It says less than or equal to. So open circle or closed circle? Well, because of my equal to, it's going to be a closed circle. My arrow is pointing left, so my inequality shading is going to be to the left. Okay? So the other thing you need to do is you need to be able to read a graph. So if I have an inequality, so I have 0, 10, 5, go ahead and build 1, 2, 4, 1, 2. So if I have this as my inequality, I don't know why I just did that, so ignore the off to the side one. So there's my inequality. I'll go back over it in blue so you guys can see. So my inequality is this. This is the direction that my arrow is going. So first thing I need to do is I need to give a variable. It doesn't matter the variable that I give. I just need to give a variable. So I'm going to do, we'll do P. Okay. And then I need to look at the direction that the arrow is going. So the direction that the arrow is going to the right. So I'm going to have the greater than symbol. And then I need to look at my value. So my value is 0, 1, 2. So P is greater than 2. And then I look at my circle. Is it open or is it closed? It's an open circle, so I do not need to write the equal sign underneath it. So that's how I read a graph and write an inequality that matches the graph. Okay, so if I do one more, so 0, 10, 5, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'm going to do a closed circle, and I'm going to change it over to black, make it easier for you guys to see. My inequality symbol is going this way. Okay, so again, use a variable. It doesn't matter. This time I'm going to use E. I'm going to find the value that I'm on. So here's 5, 6, 7, 8. Arrow is pointing to the left, so it's going to be less than. And then open or close circle, it's closed, so it's going to be a great or less than or equal to symbol. So E is less than or equal to 8. Guys, is just being able to name a solution of an inequality. It's not going to take very long. But if I have something that looks like this, if I say x is going to be greater than 9, and I want you to name 3 solutions of the inequality, I could say that x could be equal to 6, could be equal to 3, could be equal to 1. So if it asks you to name solutions, it's just asking you to identify a value for x that would make that solution true. Because if I put 6 in, 6 is less than 9, 3 is less than 9, and 1 is less than 9. It makes that inequality true. So if I have one more, so I have y is greater than or equal to 100. Y could be equal to 132. Could be equal to 500. It could be equal to 100. And I can check it to see if my inequalities are going to be true. So I did 100 greater than or equal to 100. That's true. If I did 132, that's greater than or equal to 132. That's true. 500 is greater than or equal to 500. Not 500, 100. That's true. Okay. So you've just seen several different ways that you can write and show solutions to inequalities. So you guys are going to go ahead and you're going to work on your practice. I did not do the guided practice, so I'd like for you guys to start there. Start with problem number 1 and go all the way to problem number 14 on your practice. And then you also have an inequalities practice where you're writing and graphing in your